Hello and welcome to this episode of Drinking with Dave. Now before we get started, I thought I'd mention that I'm going to have a slight change of format in the Drinking with Dave show. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split the show into two different shows. The first one will be Drinking with Dave with the beer review, and the This Week in Brewing part will become a separate brewing news show, which will be going up at a later date. Now, been looking forward to this one for a while. This here, in this glass, is a Cooper's Dark Ale. I'll just give you the particulars of the beer here because they are quite interesting. The date of brewing was the 25th of September. Today is the 25th of November. The volume of water was 23 litres. We used spray malt light, a kilo of that. Temperature was 23 degrees throughout. The date of demijohning. Now we demijohn this beer. It's the first beer that we demijohn. And one of my viewers had to Google what a demijohn was, so I just thought I'd show you. These are the demijohns that I've been using. They're just 5 litre water bottles. That's really all they are. I mean, I bought these from a homebrew supplier, but I have another batch of them which are just water bottles. Now this is just a blank cap that came with the water bottles, but I have other ones with holes punched in them in the top, and they have airlocks on them, so they're just for secondary fermentation. But all of the trub drops out, so those are very good. Now, the date of demijohn was the 29th of September, so it was a 4-day brew and then into secondary. The date of bottling was the 24th of October, so it was a month between the first brewing and the bottling. Then the first taste was the 7th of November. The original gravity was 1.044. It was then 1.012 at the time of racking to secondary, and it ended up being 1.009 final gravity. The approximate percentage of alcohol is 4.5 to 5%. Just one more note on the demijohns. We did lose 2 litres of beer between switching between the demijohn and back and forth, and little bits left in bottles and things like that, and also we were drinking it out of the demijohns with the stuff that was left over, so there's that. But anyway, on to tasting the beer. First off, the head retention isn't great. The head formation is pretty good, but you can see it's low hop, this beer, so that's why there's not much oiliness to it. The beer is a very brownish red. When held to light, it's just a big garnet coloured pint. It's lovely, lovely colour. But most of the time, it's just going to look at black or dark brown or brownish red. Onto the smell. There's definitely an initial fruitiness. There's a kind of, not a raspberry, but maybe a raisin. Winter fruits kind of smell, not a summer fruits. It's not a, it is a berry kind of smell, but it's not a, you get a big maltiness happening from the malt concentrate that the beer is made from. But it's very sweet smelling, very fruity smelling, kind of like jam or pie or fruit pie, something like that. Anyway, the taste. Very nice taste. It's smooth, it's mellow. Leaving it in the demijohns definitely does settle all the sediment out of the beer, so the beer becomes much cleaner, much more see-through, and much smoother with the aging. The shortened stout I talked about it being delaminated. It seemed like it was just a big glass of ingredients. This seems like a very nice, thoroughly put together beer. Very good. So that sweetness comes on. There's no bitter, there's no hoppiness to it. It's all just a big, fruity, malty, very sweet, but not like a cider sweetness. You can occasionally get that cider sweetness from beers, or that appley flavor. There's none of that. It's all very mellow and relaxed. This pint, it's very, very nice. I'll just give you my tasting notes here. These notes have been drawn up over the last couple of weeks while we've been drinking some of this. The beer is clear, very see-through. Big sweetness. There's a fruity sweetness. The lacing, not great. The head retention, not great. But what are you gonna do? Smooth. Occasional biscuity aftertaste. like a digestive biscuit, something like that. Minimal bitter, as in it's almost non-existent, the bitter, to be honest. Deep red to light brown, blackcurrant. Uh, there's a hint of chocolate, but it tastes like cocoa or cacao. It doesn't actually taste like a chocolate powder or something like that. It tastes like actual cocoa beans. That's the kind of thing. There's mild carbonation because I think removing a lot of the sediment with the secondary fermentation, I think inhibits the carbonation slightly. So if you're doing secondary, you'd probably be better to force carbonate it. But it has carbonated well for being in the bottles. It's not flat. It's good. Carbonation is good, but it's just a little lacking. The mouthfeel is good. There's no oiliness from any hops or anything. The taste is exceptional. Aging is incredibly good. So if you have time to age your beer, age the beer. Caramel, sweet licorice taste. The licorice is very muted, though. It's not a big punchy licorice thing like the Newcastle I did. This isn't licoricey, but there's a little bit of something to it there. It occasionally has a little brandy taste, and that is very, very nice. Some of the ones we've made have had a bit of a bourbon taste. This one has a bit of a brandy taste, and it is very, very nice. Yeah, it does have a nice brandiness to it. It tastes like brandy, but without being as boozy as brandy is, you know. Because brandy's pretty strong. It's like 40% or something usually, but it has that kind of brandiness to it. It also has a slight kind of red wininess to it. Again, without that big alcohol punchiness, and also without the... It's neither dry like wine or sweet like some other wines. So it's very well balanced, this pint, I think, and that owes entirely to the aging of it. I mean, we've made this dark ale before. This is the second time we made the dark ale. The first time we made the dark ale, it was a vast improvement on the Trouble East Lager, which was the first beer that we made. But by putting the same beer essentially in the demijohns and using spray malt instead of the half sugar, half spray malt, it has vastly improved the beer. I mean, the head's all gone and there's no lacing and stuff on it, but that's presentation. That's all to do with how the beer looks and how nice it looks. But on taste and the clarity of the beer, I mean, it's unparalleled with anything we made so far. I wish I had a torch that I could just put behind here and show you, but I don't have one. Just a little tip for tasting your beer. I actually picked up this tip from one of those TV wine shows, and a lot of wine guys are kind of pretentious, but they know how to taste alcohol, really, or any kind of alcoholic beverage, so it does apply to beer as well. So all you really do is take a sip and then pull air up through the beer in your mouth and then swallow, and that'll open up a huge bouquet of flavor. So just yeah, that really opens up when we start getting that biscuity taste comes out. You know what it actually is? It's like a digestive biscuit with blackberry jam on it. That's what the taste mostly is with this. That about wraps it up for this episode. The next episode we will be drinking Eamon's batch of homebrew for Christmas, which he has called Aunt Bessie's British Bitter, which I won't say 5 times fast, but it's an English bitter made with the Cooper's English Bitter Kit. Incredibly good beer. We will be reviewing that next week on Drinkin' with Dave.